really, if you think about it, everyone is a murderer until you make it through life without them killing you. That's really the only way you know. Hey y'all. Okay, so I'm so excited to be doing Crème de la Crème. This is like literally a fusion of all the wonderful things in life. Cookies and cakes and pies and crime and murders. Those are all of my favorite things, like summed up in one. All we need is like a chocolate man. Anyway, today for our very first episode, we're gonna keep it super simple on the baking side. Because mama got a lot to do, and we're also going to keep the story pretty short and sweet. So I decided to go with, I was about to say my girl, but she's not my girl, she's a whole murderer. Anyway, our girl's name is Amy Bishop today. Let me tell you about her. Stay tuned. Did I say what kind of cookies we're making? Well, anyway, we're making chocolate chips. So what you're going to want to do is take, a cup of butter. That's 2 sticks. And while I do this, I'm going to tell you about this girl. I'm going to tell y'all about this girl named Amy Bishop, okay? I don't know if you've heard of her, but her story takes place in Alabama. So Amy Bishop is this amazingly prodigy woman who works in the science field, and she becomes a professor at Huntsville, Alabama, University of Huntsville, Alabama. Shout out to y'all. Sorry about the tragedy, because I know that was traumatic. And so Amy, our girl Amy, she is working at this university, and basically, so she's always been regarded as like a brainiac. She went to Harvard, and if you ever were to meet her, like most people who go to Harvard, they tell you like they went to Harvard because it's a big deal. So Amy, she wasn't feeling like a prodigy when she got to Harvard because she was surrounded by other people who kind of were excelling in their fields as well. And she ended up not teaching there and taking a job in Alabama to teach at the University of Huntsville, Alabama. And so while she was there, she made like huge discoveries and research that got her department a lot of money for research and things like that. She was planning on a patent coming through, which meant more money. But she was also up for her tenure, which if you don't know what tenure is, Google it, because we don't have that kind of time. But essentially, she was up for her tenure, and all these people was coming at her neck, right? And then you want to take some sugar. So I know I'm gonna switch back and forth a lot. I didn't have brown sugar. It doesn't look like brown sugar. It's not. If you don't ever have brown sugar, what you might have and what you can do is take regular white sugar and mix it with maple syrup, and it's the same thing. If you didn't know, now you know. But anyway, back to Amy. So there's about 1.5 cups of this, 1.25 cups. So Amy is working there, and people are at her neck saying like she just teaches straight out of the textbook, like reads verbatim. She doesn't make eye contact with the students. She doesn't talk to them. When they need help, she's not helpful. She kicks people out of her labs, things like that. Nobody was happy about it. And so she's up for review to get her tenure, and this is where it all like goes crazy. She, surprise, surprise, doesn't receive tenure. So switch up. We gotta cream our butter and sugar mixture. So anyway, this is where everything goes crazy, right? So Amy is like, mind you, there's a few issues with this story for me that I didn't read anybody else noticing. And I didn't read a whole lot into the actual trial because it was actually pretty boring. But anyway, Amy was already armed. I don't know if that's just an Alabama thing, but she came to the meeting with a gun. So I guess she made up in her mind what she was gonna do. She was prepared. But anyway, so she got denied tenure and she was in a meeting, and she decides that she's gonna like air this out, right? And so she goes on to shoot and kill 3 of her colleagues, injure 6, and she actually almost killed another person because she shot all of these people, but she only killed 3 of them. Only as a like she killed 3 people, severely injured 6 other people, and then almost killed another lady. I forget her name, so forgive me, but she almost killed her, but her gun jammed. And so when her gun jammed, the lady took that opportunity to like run out into the hallway, which caused Amy to run out to the hallway. Police were called. They couldn't find her on campus for a little while. They ended up finding her. At the time, she was just like, there's no way. Those people are still alive, as she was getting arrested. And what I find interesting about the case, at that point in time, she stepped away from her mass shooting and called her husband very calmly and asked if they were still on for date night and had her come pick him up. So he's pulling up as she's being put into a police car. And he had no clue what was going on because she didn't say. He said that she sounded fine, everything was fine. He was in dis. And so we're just creaming this real quick. I love Ruby. This is my baby. Also, do you notice how my husband got his boyfriend? Yeah, I'm kind of weird. We're just gonna cream this before I finish this video. So now that our butter and sugar is all nice and combined, which also not really, it's kind of so chunky, but it's fine, promise. Anyway, so Amy kills people, super out of it allegedly. Husband doesn't know what's going on. They take her away, and we need eggs, and we need vanilla. Do I have vanilla? Where's my good vanilla? Whatever. Cookies are going to be good regardless. But anyway, so they take Amy away. Husband doesn't know what's going on. She's clearly guilty. Everyone knows what's happened. Everybody saw, like, there was witnesses. There's people who've been injured critically. That lady was, like, is permanently blind in one eye. No, no big deal. She actually ended up pleading guilty. We'll come back to that later. But the big, like, kicker, she's done this before, guys. Yeah, I know, right? Surprise, surprise. Anyway, so she's done this before, and so this happened in 2010, not that long ago, about 10 years ago, and she only apologized 5 years later. But anyway, so this happened in 2010, but as they started looking into the case, they realized that in 1986, she also gunned down her own brother. I don't know how much vanilla that was. But yeah, gunned down her own brother, 2 eggs, and with a shotgun. So here's the story on how that happened, because it's actually kind of important to like speak to this woman and how she works and how she thinks. And the fact that she's basically not only a killer, but like a pathological liar, which kind of goes hand in hand with being a murderer sometimes. Hang on, I gotta mix this. That's pretty good. So anyway, she has a brother, and like basically in their home, like when they were living with their parents, their parents had a break-in, right? So somebody had like robbed either their house or like been robbing people in the area, breaking into homes. And so they bought a gun. Dad bought a gun, and he doesn't load it, right? He keeps it out of the way. One day, little Miss Amy, little Miss Nosy, wants to go find the gun, and she loaded it. So she loads it. Her brother gets home. She shoots him, right? She says that she shot him because on accident. So she says she knew how to load the gun, but she didn't know how to unload the gun. And so she was asking her brother. So as she's swinging the gun around to like show her brother the side that the bullets are supposed to come out, she accidentally shoots him in the chest with the shotgun, close range, and he dies almost instantly. At that time, she then leaves the house, runs out of the house, gun still in hand, goes to like a near convenience store or like body shop, something like that, and like tries to steal someone's car. She says this whole story, like she tells the man like, my boyfriend is after me, or my husband's after me, he's gonna kill me, like I need your car, I need to go, blah blah blah. And she's like holding the gun, and then like 2 officers have to like intervene. So like one is talking to her, telling her to put the gun down, she's refusing. Another officer is coming up behind her with a gun, and everyone says, of course, there's no way she should have made it out of that situation alive, but I think we all know why she did. But anyway, she makes it. And so as she is making it home, like the police officers take her home, they find out, oh my gosh, her brother's dead. What happened here? Mom says she saw what happened, which I don't know how you see your son die and your daughter like shoot and kill him and run out the house and all of that. But anyway, so she saw that and she said it was an accident, and they took her word for it. Plain and simple. Amy's fine. She goes home. Nobody presses charges against her. Boom, 2010, she's murdered. 3 people, injured 6. Crazy story, right? And so when they bring up these charges against Amy, they also want to bring up the charges against her involving her brother. But by the time this trial is over, apparently there was like a statute of limitations on murder, and so they weren't able to charge her with the other one. So we're gonna take what is this? 1, 2, 3 cups of flour, and let's do a teaspoon of baking soda. Y'all like how I kind of prepped low-key? And then we're also going to do a teaspoon of salt. Salt is always good in chocolate chip cookies. Debate your mother. I don't know why, but it works. It works really well. I'm not going to waste all of this salt. It's actually low-key it's not expensive, but it's not one of those things you just waste. So we're just going to incorporate this like so. And talk more about Amy, because we need to talk about her trial. It's kind of important. But first I got to make sure this is incorporated really, really well. As best as I can, because come on. You would use a sifter usually. So we're just going to gradually add this in. I'm going to start with about 1/4 of it as we talk about the trial of Amy Bishop. It shouldn't have been a long trial. It was longer than I think it should have been, personally. That's why I'm not in law enforcement. So Amy goes to trial, and at first she wanted to plead guilty. Like when they were interviewing her and stuff, she seemed really out of it. They said her husband denies that she did it, which is crazy to me, and still maintains her innocence to this day. Don't y'all love like all the parking? But you know, at some point, little Miss Missy comes to her senses, right? And so she's saying that she's not guilty, and y'all. Okay, we just added the last of our flour, so I'm just gonna mix this up really quick so I can throw the chocolate chips in. Un momento. It's not like Amy's boy, where she's doing life in prison right now. Spoiler alert. You gotta check cookie dough. You're not supposed to eat raw cookie dough. Fun fact. But y'all don't run me. That's promising. Okay. So, chocolate chips. I'm like obsessed with chocolate chunk. I don't even really be eating chocolate chip cookies all like that, but I love chocolate chunk. Also, if you're looking for recipes, you don't have to use mine. It was very simple. Most recipes are. But there were always some on the back of the chocolate chip bag. Oh. Nobody in the history of ever should have to cut open a bag of chocolate chips. Also, there's like serving suggestions on how many chocolate chips to use. And honestly, there's literally, I don't care how many you're making, use all of the chocolate chips. We're adults, like, grow up. What are they, too sweet? We have dental plans now. There's no excuses. Don't do what I just did and let all the dust come in, because then those shavings mess up my pretty dough, and I really don't like that. It irks me. But we've done it. What's done is done. We move on. And what you would want to do is go ahead and chill this dough. Not doing that either. We're just going to bake a few and see how it goes. Chill the rest and see how that goes. But it looks good. We're going to take this off. Don't judge. These aren't for you. And this didn't even... We're done with that. Okay. That's really good. So anyway, I might make my own brown sugar all the time with the maple syrup. It tastes really promising. Anyway, so we got our Amy. She's a mess. And like a hot mess. Like not a mess. Like, oh my gosh, girl, get your stuff together. Like, she's crazy. Like, she's bananas. People have complaints with her, and as the trial is going on, it comes out that not only did she shoot and kill her brother, but she's also been connected to a mail bomb plot against another professor at the university she works at. The girl is off her hinges, but this time it was with her husband involved too. So there was reports that her husband had said he wanted to kill the guy. And it's known that Amy doesn't like the professor. It's known that her husband doesn't care for him. I'm sorry, this dough is low-key putting in some work. And so one day, Mr. Professor Finesser gets a package, and he wasn't expecting a package, which if you're not expecting a package, don't ever just open stuff. I know we're past like the age of the Unabomber, but still, there's prodigies. If you study true crime like I do, you know, everybody has a prodigy. And so anyway, so he sees that he wasn't expecting a package. He tries to peek inside. So when he peeks inside, he sees wires and like little tube things, and he knows right away, like, yo, this is gonna be a bot. And he narrowly escapes blowing himself up. At the time, you know, it was the age of the Unabomber, so people just wanted to kind of connect it to that, like, and nobody really suspected Amy. Side note, maple syrup might just be the key to a good chocolate chip cookie. Stay tuned. I'm looking for a big enough spoon. This'll do. To spoon these out. So you're gonna want, y'all wasn't gonna tell me. You're gonna want a lightly greased sheet. Or you can do what I do, which is just line it with foil. So I'm just taking these and just kind of putting them like that. These are literally for me and my cookie jars. So I know you see me like licking the spoon and all of that. Mind your business. It'll just do you a world of good. If you really want to do something, like, go sign a petition. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Anyway, this is actually kind of big. Oh gosh. So I'm making pretty big cookies. You do not have to make them this big, but I don't need, like, I'm not doing it for a bake sale or something crazy. So I know I look like a soccer mom, but just me. So I'm just gonna take these huge 3, and these will be my testers. And I'm going to throw them in the oven, which has been preheating this whole time. Anytime you're about to bake, before you do anything else, just turn on the oven. See what the setting needs to be. I'm doing 350 and just throw that in. So it'll be good and heated and ready to go by the time you get to it. So anyway, Amy. So they bring up the Unabomber thing. They bring up her brother thing. She gets charged with the murders at Huntsville, Alabama, the university. I don't know why I say it out of order. She's doing life in prison now. She says when she pled not guilty, because she changed her plea, that she was not mentally stable due to mental illness, allergies, and steroids. Steroids and allergies. Mental illness, my issue with that is completely different from the others, but I don't like when people do mental illness as a plea or as an angle, and it doesn't, regardless of what you see on like TV and stuff, it doesn't happen as often as you think. But because it's glamorized as much, people automatically assume that people with mental illnesses are prone to violence and are prone to murder, and that's just not true, and it's harmful rhetoric. So I don't like when people try to push that plea deal out, like lawyers and things like that, because it really is harmful rhetoric to the community of disabled people who deal with a lot of other like prejudices and deal with a lot of other issues. To be associated with sociopaths and murderers is just not fair. So we're gonna let these cookies bake for like until they look right. My way to get perfectly looking cookies is to take them out halfway through when they're still not done in the middle, or if they're starting to puff up like biscuits, because that happens sometimes. The key is, or where you went wrong with that, is usually too much baking soda. That's a measurement you really want to get exact. But anywho, so you take them out of the oven halfway through when they're not all the way done, smush that down, because it's not cooked all the way anyway, it's still raw. Then put it back in the oven and it'll raise in a different way and it'll look better. Pro tip. Anyway, allergies. What? Who murders people because they have bad allergies? Who? Why? Where? Steroids. I don't know where that came from. I was reading all about it. I was trying to figure it out. That was just, she just kind of pulled that one out of her hat like a magic trick rabbit. But anywho, she's in jail for life. And we're back. Okay, so I did let these stay in the oven a little bit longer than I would normally. So this is what they look like. Almost the size of my head. My head is shaped weird, so you can't really tell. Let's get a prettier one. Oh, okay. Well, they're still warm because that's delicious. You see this? This is what we do it for. So the other one just fell apart, but let's try it. You see that? That beauty? These are actually really good. Hold on. Oh no! Anyway, that's the story of Amy Bishop. I can't stop. Hold on. That concludes our very first episode of Crème de la Crème. I'm your host, Karis, and justice is a dish best served a la mode. Bye.